Carmelo Anthony is serving a 35-year sentence for Austin Metcalf's murder. But crowds gathered outside the Collin County Courthouse today calling for a retrial.
That will be debated in court tomorrow. But tonight, the judge who presided over Anthony's trial is being recused.
Senior crime and justice reporter Rebecca Lopez shares why and what it means for Anthony's appeal.
Carmelo Anthony's defense team walked out of court with a win. A visiting judge removed Judge John Roach off this case. The question isn't whether or not Roach was unfair, but he said whether or not someone looking from the outside in could question Roach's impartiality. Supporters poured out of the courthouse cheering and gathered on the steps chanting Carmelo Anthony's name.
We are not insensitive to the fact that a life was lost, but we also don't believe that two lives should be lost through injustice.
Pastor Freddie Haynes brought a busload of supporters from Friendship West Baptist Church. Inside court, Anthony's attorneys argued Judge John Roach could no longer appear fair and impartial. They focused on an interview Roach gave WFAA's Jobin Punaker just 2 days after the verdict, saying the trial was fair and the jury got it right.
For me, that was shocking. As a layperson, I think that he jumped the gun.
The defense also raised questions about restrictions on courtroom access and agreements made during the trial that were never put on the record. The visiting judge said he was not finding that Roach had been unfair. Instead, he said the issue was how it could look to a reasonable person on the outside.
It was more an idea that giving the interview after the fact made an outsider or a reasonable third party look at the process and think it could have been not as fair and impartial as the law requires.
Legal expert Todd Shapiro calls it a victory for Anthony's supporters, but says it does not change his conviction.
That's probably the first victory they've had in this case since it started, but it doesn't really change the landscape of what's next.
And what's next comes Thursday. Anthony's new attorneys will ask a new judge for a new trial.
I think that the law will require a new trial based on the facts that we have discovered so far.
That new judge will hear the evidence and decide whether Anthony's attorneys can prove there were problems serious enough that he did not get a fair trial the first time around. In Collin County, I'm Rebecca Lopez.
As soon as the decision came down, our team of reporters met with legal experts to discuss what happens next. You can see their analysis on demand right now in our free streaming app.
Tonight, the Dallas ISD officer shot at a Sam's Club in Dallas was finally released from the hospital. We were outside Parkland today as crews rolled out Officer Justin Jones. He's been in the hospital for weeks after investigators say Jones pulled over to help Jose Pantoja Morales with a ride. When Morales started reaching for Jones's bag, Jones pulled over to put him in handcuffs, and that's when investigators say Morales reached for his gun and shot the officer. Today, Jones told us it does not change how he feels about the job.
Definitely looking forward to going back to work. That's my passion in life, and I will be there with bells on when I get fully recovered. And I have a fighting spirit, so it's every day is going to be better than the last.
Jones told us recovery has been getting better by the day. He's hoping to make a full recovery soon. The suspect is in jail on an aggravated assault charge.
Now to Fort Worth, where we've just confirmed crews have found a body at the old TXU plant off Main Street. Tonight, sources tell WFAA they believe a man accidentally fell down the water pipe. It has been there for days. At this point, it could take several days to remove that body. An investigation is now underway, but this isn't the first time authorities have been forced to recover people from that spot.
Tonight, police are investigating the death of a 5-year-old girl who died after she was left inside a hot car. It happened in Garland, and we've learned the 5-year-old was a new student in Garland ISD. Tonight, police tell Luke Clary first responders did everything they could to save her.
A Garland police officer just told me that these are the most difficult calls that first responders will ever receive. And in these hot temperatures, a tragic reminder that parents have to be vigilant.
It was more than 100 degrees in Garland Tuesday when police say a driver brought 2 kids home from school. One child got out, a 5-year-old girl didn't and died.
There are no words to describe how devastating this can be.
Garland police are now investigating how it happened. No charges have been filed. The family told detectives it took some time to realize she was still in the car.
They started looking everywhere, right? Like you would a child. And then they started looking outside. Is she out there playing? Where's she at? and then somebody located her still in the vehicle.
A family member was doing CPR when first responders arrived. Police say the girl may have been in the car for hours.
Imagine sitting in a parking lot and cutting the engine. You know, once the air conditioning goes off, it doesn't take long to get really hot. Police say that little girl was in the car for hours.
It was definitely fatal very quickly.
Kids in Car Safety says this is at least the 23rd hot car death in the U.S. this year. The nonprofit has tracked nearly 1,200 since 1990.
Most of these cases are a mix of stress or fatigue and then a change in routines. This is not a lapse of love, it's just a lapse of memory. And, this could really happen to anyone.
That's why safety advocates say the best protection is to build a reminder into every trip. Because in this heat, minutes matter. In Garland, I'm Luke Clary.
Well, this is so heartbreaking, and Pete, it is a tragic reminder of the warning you've been sharing with us all summer long.
Cynthia, I have been preaching this story all summer long and every single summer that I've been here. Yesterday we hit 105 and today we hit 105. In the interior of your car, when it's 105 outside, in less than 5 minutes, the inside's 112. In 10 minutes, it's 122. 20 minutes, the inside of the car is 132 degrees. 30 minutes, 137, 40 minutes, 141, 50 minutes, the inside of the car. When it's 105 outside, the inside of the car is 144 degrees, and it goes up to 146 in just 1 hour. It doesn't take long. And when you have one that young, it just is a matter of minutes before bad things start to happen. And remember, we have the extreme heat warning. It was in effect yesterday, in effect today. It's now in effect through tomorrow at 8 p.m. And I have no doubt that's going to be extended into the end of the week. I'll be back in a few minutes. I'll have the full forecast coming up.
Well, the Dallas Wings just suffered a major blow, losing a key player for the rest of the year. And it comes one day before a matchup with Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
Michelle Montaigne is here in studio to show us why it is such a big loss for the team, Michelle.
Yeah, the Wings announced earlier today that #1 overall pick AZ Fudd will undergo an arthroscopic procedure, to address that ongoing right knee soreness that she's been dealing with. And because of that, she will miss the remainder of the season. She hasn't played in a game since August 5th. She's been dealing with this knee injury. And anytime you're without a #1 overall pick, the impact is going to be felt. But you consider that her plus 13.1 net rating leads the team. And it shows you just how much they could use her as they try to cement a spot in the playoffs. Fudd averaged over 13 points in her rookie season, nearly 2 steals. That's good for 5th in the league. But what's more concerning about this injury is that she's previously torn her ACL and meniscus in the same knee back in 2023, after tearing the same ACL and MCL in that knee in 2019. Now, the positive here is that she knows what it takes to rehab, to come back and put in the work. She even said as much on her social media earlier this afternoon, but a big blow for the Wings as they try to get back to the postseason. And again, right before they host a top 3 team in the Fever tomorrow night.
All right, Michelle.